From Daily Trust News Center, this is News Hour.
On News Hour tonight, Sokoto on lockdown as security operatives man strategic places. Political realignment in Kano as Kwankwaso meets Shekaro. Residents fleeing from bandits attacks flawed Mina. And NFF appoints new coach for Super Eagles. Hello and welcome to News Hour. I'm Zainab Bala. The news in detail. Well-armed security operatives have been drafted to strategic places to maintain peace and order in Sokoto. The security operatives, led by the Commissioner of Police in the state, Kamal Okunlola, are also enforcing a curfew imposed on Sokoto State by Governor Aminu Tambuwal on Saturday. At least one person was killed and many others injured on Saturday as police quelled violence that erupted after a mob action. The mob was demanding for release of suspects arrested in connection with the lynching of a student of Shehu Shagari College of Education, Sokoto, Deborah Samuel. Samuel had been accused of blasphemy against Prophet Muhammad. The Catholic Archbishop of Sokoto, Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka, had debunked rumors that his house was razed by the protesters. Now, teams of policemen were also seen guarding religious places and other important places in the metropolis, with shops around Ahmadu Bello Way and other parts of the state closed down. Killing. The Northern Governors Forum has condemned the killing of Deborah Samuel, a student of Shehu Shagari College of Education, Sokoto, who was killed on allegations of blasphemy. Chairman of the forum, Simon Lalong, and Governor of Plateau State, in a statement, expressed the governor's concern about development, which was clearly an extrajudicial measure of addressing perceived infractions. Governor Lalong frowned at the adoption of self-help in addressing grievances, whether religious or otherwise, noting that such could only lead to further chaos that may threaten law and order. The NGF, while commiserating with the family of the victim, urged security agencies to thoroughly investigate the matter and ensure that the law takes its full course on anyone found wanting or culpable in the circumstance. The Borno State Commissioner of Police has cautioned religious leaders and people of Borno to shelve any planned protest over the Sokoto blasphemy incident. This follows the meeting on peace building with religious leaders and other security stakeholders with the Commissioner on the directive of the State Governor. Intelligence reports suggest that some residents were planning to shut down the city in reaction to the alleged Sokoto blasphemy incident that resulted to the death of a female student named Deborah Samuel. At the meeting, the Commissioner of Police, Abdul Umar, called on the religious leaders to help the state maintain peace by ensuring that their followers stay peaceful.
Mun san cewa nan jihar Borno, Yobe da Adamawa muna cikin kunci na rashin tsaro.
You all know that here in Borno, Yobe and Adamawa states, there is Boko Haram crisis, which we are trying to calm the situation and enjoy the peace we are experiencing now. But with what happened in Sokoto recently is the reason we called for this gathering to enlighten our people, and it's expected of us to extend the message here to our followers on the importance of peace. The governor called me this hour that we should have this meeting, even if it's to wake everyone, to discuss so we can avoid what happened in Sokoto to occur in Borno. We will take action accordingly. The chief imam will summon all the malams and preachers and talk to them. He will deliver the message of the commissioner of police to them. I will also appeal to the Khan chairman to talk to the pastors and Christians to avoid religious comments. It will really help to stop spreading the story of. We, the Christian community in Borno State, have agreed to maintain peace. I have written letters to all the pastors in Borno telling them to inform their members that we don't want any reaction from them and they should go about their normal routine activities without any fear of attack. We are law-abiding and we have a total submission to the teaching of God as enshrined in the Holy Bible.
No fewer than 145 governorship aspirants and 15,048 National Assembly aspirants under the platform of the All Progressive Congress APC on Sunday besieged the venue for the party screening exercise to be cleared to contest party's primaries. Trust TV Shafiu Suleiman, who monitored the screening, reports that the aspirants are upbeat for a positive outcome as they face the screening panel.
As it is with Nigeria's political culture, governors rounding up their second terms of stewardship usually move to the Senate, perceived as retirement enclave for them. They move in to the venue of the screening exercise to perform yet another political party ritual.
Very smooth, very simple, because it's a procedure that you are used to, and I've done it.
It went very well, very oddly well organized.
For some incumbent senators like Smarta Deyemi, representing Kogi West Senatorial District, there is no limit for a return ticket.
You cannot say you have qualified to run until when they say you have also qualified to run. So, notwithstanding that you are a sitting senator, you wait for the verdict. So when we get the report from the screening committee, then we now look at the strategies of how to cross the bridge.
The committee members they did a very good job, I must confess. I must commend them because of the surging crowd, confusion. They were able to handle it well. So I'm very happy with the process.
The venue for the screening exercise is a beehive of activities as the governorship and National Assembly aspirants remain upbeat of meeting the requirements set out by the party, which holds the ace for their chances of moving to the next step of the electoral process. Shafiu Suleiman, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Governor of Bauchi State and presidential aspirant of the People's Democratic Party PDP, Bala Muhammad, says Nigeria is not divided but suffering from bad administration. Bala said this at the state secretariat of the party in Kaduna when he met with delegates ahead of the party's primary. The report.
Senator Muhammad said Nigeria is suffering from insecurity and economic challenges as a result of bad governance.
Nigeria is so divided, and the division is caused by maladministration. The nepotism, the exclusion of people that are federating in the country to form the country called Nigeria. There is so much suspicion and mistrust because most of the federating entities are not feeling a sense of belonging to the center. And then the government does not care. There is a lot of disillusionment and disenchantment. The youth are not given employment. The women are not considered as vulnerable.
In another development, the Social Democratic Party in Kaduna at its state and local government congress says the party is ready to wrestle power from the APC in 2023.
SDP won the election 1992 during the Babangida era. So definitely this time around, even the last election we came third. But 2023 we are going to win the election.
And you know we have a structure, we have the integrity to deliver. People know only that it was sidelined, or somehow because of the pressure on the SDP. But now that we have seen the nature of the APC and the PDP, we are sure people will not trust the SDP.
Meanwhile, a group of youths in Kaduna have called on party leaders and delegates to put national interests above self when choosing candidates for various offices to ensure that Nigeria moves forward.
We appeal to party leaders and delegates to see beyond the next general elections and rather consider the next generation, as they will either enjoy or pay the price of decisions you are about to make. See beyond money bags. Don't sell your conscience. Give us the best and secure the future of Nigeria.
As Nigerians are about to witness another general election in 2023, many believe that for the country to overcome its challenges, the right candidates must emerge from different political parties. Lami Sadiq, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Senator Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso on Sunday visited Senator Ibrahim Shekarau to finalize arrangements leading to Shekarau's defection to the new but fast-growing New Nigeria People's Party. Shekarau had been expected to officially announce his defection from the ruling All Progressive Congress on Saturday, but the plan was shelved for an undisclosed reason. Governor Abdullahi Ganduje had visited Shekarau Friday night to prevail on him to shelve the defection, with the latter shunning an Abuja meeting after reportedly gathering that it was not the presidency that called the peace parley. Sources in Shekarau's camp told Daily Trust that the defection is almost a done deal, as all the associates of the former governor in all the 44 local governments have agreed to move to the NNPP. Back in Abuja, queues over the weekend reduced in most filling stations in the capital territory, paving the way for motorists and other residents to get the commodity at a shorter time. In this report, Kabir Lawal spoke to motorists and other vehicle owners on the need for the federal government to make the commodity available during weekends. The report.
At the peak of the scarcity, roadside vendors, popularly called black marketers, took advantage of the situation to sell at exorbitant prices. This reduced the purchasing power of average buyer, while some resorted using taxis to and from their destinations. However, in Abuja metropolis, fuel consumers have heaved a sigh of relief as the product has become more available, with queues reducing.
Oh, honestly, maybe just because today is Sunday, that's why. Sometimes within the working days, you may realize the line is too much. So I think just because today is Sunday, you have been seeing how the drivers are suffering. So I don't see any problem with the travel, what do you call it? Because whenever the fuel increase, definitely the price may be increasing. So I don't see any problem with that.
Well, I've been here for over 30 years. I just came from church actually. Queues were longer than this during the week. It was longer during the week anyway. Yeah, but maybe because it's Sunday, people will close from church and start queuing now.
They expressed happiness and called on federal government to find a lasting solution to the fuel scarcity due to its effect on the economy through price increase.
This week now, it don't come down. I felt today for tomorrow, but we don't know how tomorrow will be. Monday morning will be. But today now, the thing is getting better. Since yesterday, Francis Friday is getting better. But now I don't know the next week the Monday will be. Therefore, I can get to make it the airport. We will see with the commercial that this, make it the airports, make the first day. Because if we know fuel, we can know make tour. Our family can know get something to go work to. Make the airports, make the fare come down. If we are able to make the day normal, at least you understand they come now. The other morning they make it the fare the day normal. Now we need the scarcity of the fare.
Long distance drivers passing through Abuja are pleased with the ease of getting the product in the FCT and call on the federal government to look into the issue, which will go a long way to reduce transportation fares and spare parts.
He said the fuel scarcity in other states is more worse than that of the FCT, adding that black marketers in other states also sell the product at exorbitant prices.
This is how Sunday looks like in Abuja metropolis, where the queues are not as heavy as it used to be at weekdays. And motorists are smiling now. People are walking with jerry cans to buy fuel commodities for their car and also their generators at home. In Abuja, Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News.
Elsewhere, long queues are resurfacing at fuel stations in Katsina State, with motorists spending hours to purchase fuel. While most of the filling stations belonging to independent marketers have remained closed, the few ones that are opened are selling above pump price. Abdullahi Ahmadi has the details of this report.
Motorists defy the scorching sun and choose to spend hours on the queue to buy petrol. Despite the inconvenience of waiting for long hours, they are not buying the commodity at the regulated pump price. Fuel sells in Katsina between 195 to 200 naira per litre, and these motorists are tired of the inconsistent policies and programs on petrol supply. They feel the federal government is not doing enough to cater for the welfare of the common man. These Katsina residents insist that it is high time the federal government deals with the issue of fuel scarcity head-on and bring Nigerians out of the woods. They are of the opinion that the fuel scarcity has succeeded in destroying the socio-economic fabric that guarantees the well-being of the ordinary Nigerian.
The problem of petroleum that we are facing is not from government, it's from our marketers. Because government didn't increase the price of petroleum, and they have already announced that the petroleum is there available. So why can't they go and take the fuel? So they are using this in order to make it difficult for us, in order to use this opportunity to sabotage. So my appealing to the government is that the issue is on subsidy. So let them remove the subsidy so that we know that this fuel we are buying it at our own without any subsidy.
Independent petroleum marketers say they buy the commodity from private depots, the exorbitant prices which is what affects distribution and sales at filling stations. But motorists accuse the marketers of impunity, subjecting ordinary citizens to harsh economic conditions. There appears to be some connivance between the government and the independent petroleum marketers. People have been suffering untold hardship for quite a while. For some time now, only major marketers dispense petroleum products in Katsina State at the government-approved pump price. On the flip side, regulatory agencies have allowed independent marketers to sell at exorbitant price without any form of control.
First of all, we know how we treat our customers. We treat them nicely, and secondly, we are giving out the product at the government approval price. And as you can see, when you get to other filling stations, you can see that there's fuel, but the price is higher than our own here.
This gives room for racketeers to make brisk business unchecked. Efforts to get the leadership of the regulatory body on petroleum products in Katsina proved abortive. Observers have warned that if this situation is left unchecked, it may likely affect the 2023 general elections. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
Moving on, queues have reappeared in fuel stations in Gombe metropolis as scarcity looms in the city. Ibrahim Ismail spoke to some motorists on the difficulties experienced in the course of buying the commodity. His report.
This filling station is located along Gombe Bauchi Road in Gombe metropolis. It is one of the few filling stations selling petrol in the entire city. Motorists here say they spend between 1 and 3 hours on the queue.
And this is truly very unusual, and someone like me, I spent like 2 to 3 hours on queue, and I have to stress, like it was very stressful coming in right here. So I think this is just uncalled for a country like this, Nigeria, that's known for production of crude oil, but yet we the citizens are still suffering like this. It's just unfortunate, and we really need to talk to our leaders, the president. I don't know what's actually doing.
The president,
yes,
Commander-in-Chief,
Commander-in-Chief,
Minister of Petroleum.
Of course.
And this is happening. Do you have a message?
It's unfortunate, Mr. President. If you listen to me or if you hear me at any cost, this is uncalled for.
Na kai awa biyu anan ina jiran mai, amma layi na ya zo an ce mai ya kare.
I have been here for more than 2 hours waiting for fuel. When it was my turn, they said it has finished. I used to travel to Port Harcourt from Gombe, but we don't experience difficulties of buying fuel there, like here in the north. I don't know the reason. Is it the fault of the marketers or the government? Trust TV observed that more than 10 filling stations are not selling the product in Gombe metropolis. Motorcycle riders are incensed. They accuse petroleum marketers of hoarding the commodity.
To gaskiya wannan hali da muka shiga na harkar mai gaskiya abu ya ba mu tsoro. Dan sabani ma yanzu aka mun zo nan gidan man.
We are scared about this fuel scarcity. I swear we have waited for long. but they told us that they will not sell to us. However, we have seen some VIPs buying the product, but we the Okada riders are suffering. We followed the queue, they said no fear. I spent 2 to 3 hours here. Efforts to speak to the leadership of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN, Gombe State chapter were not successful. Nigeria has been battling with fuel scarcity since early this year after millions liters of adulterated petrol were imported into the country. From Gombe, Ibrahim Ismail reporting for Trust TV.
Elsewhere, passengers of the Azman Airlines have been stranded at Malam Aminu Kano International Airport for over 24 hours. Some of the passengers had to spend the night at the departure wing of the airport as they did not learn about the rescheduled flight until late in the evening. Many of the passengers traveling to Abuja and Lagos lamented that their flight was scheduled for 4 p.m. on Saturday but got the rescheduled notice around 8 p.m. Daily Trust gathered from some staff in the airport that the airline had been having some challenges with aviation oil marketers. One of the company's staff attributed the delay to technical difficulties and assured that the flight was rescheduled for 6:30 p.m. on Sunday. You're watching News Hour on Trust Television. Coming up. Culture of tribal marks going extinct. Stay with us.
To every politician, as the campaigns gain momentum and passions begin to rise, remember, the errors of your opponents do not make you a success. Do not run down your opponent and inflame passions to violence between and among your supporters. What counts is what you plan to do for the electorate and how you intend to relieve the sufferings and bring succor. Nigeria is in dire need of patriotic leaders at all levels, leaders who will make national development their priority. Concentrate on telling the electorate what you intend to do when you get into office. Focus on making your vision clear to the electorate. Don't engage in verbal abuses, fake news or speeches. Keep dealing with issues that will bring progress. You win the hearts and minds of the people by being above board, by being civil, patriotic and showing empathy. Let's join hands to make the 2023 elections peaceful. A message from the National Orientation Agency.
Welcome back. If you are just joining us, this is News Hour on Trust Television. Our top stories. Sokoto on lockdown as security operatives man strategic places. Political realignment in Kano as Kwankwaso meets Shekaro. Still ahead, Governor of Anambra State, Charles Soludo, on Friday visited Nnamdi Kanu, leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, in detention. The governor, who posted pictures of the meeting on his Facebook page on Saturday, said they discussed the sit-at-home protests and killings in the southeast. He assured that if the opportunity arises, he will be glad to personally broadcast to his followers to maintain the peace. Soludo had, in April 2022, called on the federal government to speed up the trial of Kanu so he may be convicted or freed instead of being kept in indefinite detention. Kanu is standing trial on a 15-count charge bordering on treasonable felony, 8 of which were recently struck out by a federal high court in Abuja. No fewer than 7 farmers were killed by suspected terrorists in the early hours of Saturday at Faru community in Maradu local government area of Zamfara State. A resident of the affected community told Trust TV that the victims were working in their farms when the suspected terrorists launched an attack on the farmers, killing 7 of them. He narrated that the terrorists began attacking the community since the beginning of the rainy season and had made it clear to farmers that they would not allow them to carry out farming activities this year. The locals observed that the terrorists had been going round the farmlands to ensure total compliance with their threat. They called on relevant authorities to take decisive actions to protect the community from the dreaded criminal elements and restore peace in the troubled area. Unknown gunmen on Saturday evening ambushed a police convoy at Idema Otuabagi Road, Ogbia local government area of Bayelsa State while returning from a colleague's burial at Imago Kubo River State, killing 1 officer and 4 civilians, while others were critically injured. According to a source from the community, the policemen and civilians were returning from the burial of a police officer identified as late ASP Gilbert Sampson when the unfortunate incident happened. He said the gunmen were suspected to be kidnappers who wanted to take occupants of the vehicles into the bush. Police spokesman in Bayelsa State, SP Asinim Botswat, who confirmed the incident in a statement on Sunday, said the Commissioner of Police in Bayelsa State has ordered for a manhunt for the gunmen who perpetrated the dastardly act, which, while investigation is ongoing to unravel those behind the attack. Dozens of residents of Niger State on Sunday morning fled to Minna, the state capital, as terrorists reportedly took over communities between Mutuntlaya and Gunu, Sarkin Power Road in Munya local government area. Mutuntlaya and Gunu communities are about 20 kilometers northeast of Minna, the Niger State capital. A resident in the area, Shehu Abubakar, said the attackers started operations at about 5:20 a.m. at Chibani, Kuchi and Injita and Gwada axis, where communities were still observing their early morning prayers, and operated till about 11 a.m. unchallenged. Travelers flying Gunu, Mutuntlaya, Gwada, Sarkin Power and adjoining villages were trapped as the road was reportedly unsafe on Sunday morning. Niger State Police Command is yet to confirm the attack. The Adama Taraba Area Commander of the Nigeria Customs Service says it has intercepted no fewer than 2,140 bags of urea fertilizer and other contraband goods worth over 68 million in April. Speaking at a press conference in Yola, the Controller of Customs in charge of Adama State expressed concern over the rate at which restricted items now move to northeast part of the country, despite federal government stance on it. He explained that the command has keyed into the Controller General of Customs zero tolerance policy for smuggling, combating trade in illicit goods and implementation of federal government fiscal policies.
The Adamawa Taraba Area Command of the Nigeria Customs Service has keyed into the Controller General of Customs zero tolerance policy for smuggling, combating illegal commercial activities and trade in illicit goods, and implementation of the federal government fiscal policy. The command, in collaboration with other customs units operating the command like CIU, SIS, Federal Operation and Strike Force, in collaboration with the actionable information got from Public Patriotic Nigeria, was able to record 10 seizures in April 2022 alone, with the duty paid value of over 68 million naira. The items include 2,140 bags of 50 kg each of urea fertilizer seized only in April this year. This is apart from the over 1,700 earlier seized, covering between January to March 2022.
The National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, has interrupted bids by drug cartels to export tramadol, ecstasy, MDMA and cannabis to Milan, Italy and Dubai, United Arab Emirates through the Murtala Mohammed International Airport. It also seized 203,879 tablets of pharmaceutical opioids and illicit substances in raids across Abia, Kaduna, Yobe and Kogi State. The report.
At the Lagos airport, a female passenger, Odia Emiliana Efe, was arrested on Monday 9th May while trying to board Royal Air Morocco flight from Lagos via Casablanca to Milan, Italy, with 1,000 tablets of tramadol, 200 milligrams concealed in food items. A freight agent, Karim Ibrahim, was also arrested at the Sako cargo shed of the airport for attempting to export food items containing hidden blocks of cannabis, weighing 6.65 kilograms, and 24 grams of ecstasy drugs, MDMA, to Dubai in the UAE. In Abia, 3 trucks loaded with drugs coming from Lagos and Onitsha, Anambra, were intercepted with 67,100 tablets of tramadol and 12,650 capsules of pentazocine, morphine, and dopamine. Similarly, NDLEA operatives in Kaduna arrested a suspected drug dealer, Shehu Kabir, also known as Anzaira, wanted by the Katsina command of the agency for jumping bail. Items recovered from him include 45,000 tablets of diazepam, weighing 41.5 kilograms, 50,000 tablets of Exo, weighing 15.6 kilograms, 1,500 tablets of Rofinol, weighing 700 grams, and 300 bottles of codeine, weighing 41.5 kilograms. In Yobe State, no fewer than 7,029 tablets of tramadol, D5 and Exo, as well as 1.5 kilograms of cannabis were recovered from a drug dealer, Ibrahim Yakubu, when his hideout was raided in Unguru town, while in Rivers State, one Chikeri Richard was arrested at Eleme area on Wednesday, 11th May, with 207.2 kilograms of cannabis. The chairman of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, NDLEA, Brigadier General Muhammad Buba Marwa, retired, has commended officers and men of the Murtala Mohammed International Airport, Abia, Kaduna, Yobe, Rivers, and Kogi for the arrests and seizures, and assured that the NDLEA will spare no effort at ridding the nation of illicit drug trade.
The age-long cultural practice of inscribing tribal marks on children's cheeks in Yoruba land is gradually fading away and might go into extinction. While many people want this practice stopped, there are people who believe that the culture of tribal marks should be sustained because of its benefits. Hamid Oyubadi filed in this report.
Yoruba land tribal marks serve different purposes. The people use these marks as a way of identification and a means of beautification, while they believe in their powers of healing and spiritual protection. They are a part of the Yoruba culture and are usually inscribed on the cheeks during childhood. One of the common tribal marks in Ile-Ife in Osun State is known as Pele, which comes as 3 long vertical lines drawn on the cheeks. The other versions are Pele Ijebu and Pele Ijesha. Another popular tribal mark in Yoruba land is the Gombo marking system, a complex combination of curved and straight lines on both sides of the face. It is common to people from Ogbomoso in Oyo State. However, the culture is gradually going into extinction in Yoruba land because of modernity. Fumilayo Adeyemi says tribal marks deface people and so should be stopped.
Tribal mark is a fashion of the old by our forefathers, and I don't think this mark is in vogue anymore. And the reason why I believe that this tribal mark should not be in vogue again is because of the damages it has caused a lot of children. In the olden days, this is normal, it is acceptable. But in the 21st century, we don't accept it any longer.
You see what happened when they even born me? They have to carry me out from our family house to another place so that they will not give me that tribal mark. Tribal mark in the olden days is very important. It's just a unique to know people where you came from. But as we are in a modern world, it's no longer useful.
In contrast, Olaide Oyelude and Prince Kola Oyelere both believe the practice should be sustained and want rulers to protect Yoruba cultural practices, including tribal marks.
I'm a Yoruba man. Concerning the issue of tribal marks, I will advocate that we should continue, we should not allow the culture of applying tribal marks on our children to die. Why? Tribal marks can be used to identify the community or the family that a baby or someone is from.
Increasing urbanization and modernization have rendered some cultural practices obsolete, which is why the practice of tribal marks may be on its way to extinction. Even the debate about their importance to society is not as loud as it was in years past.
Moving on, one of the easiest ways of identifying a person is by their name. The importance of this means of identification makes it imperative that once a child is born, they are given one. In this report, Trust TV's Kabir Lawal takes a look at the significance of names and how they impact our everyday life. His report.
To many, names are just an identification tag that carries no more significance or effect than naming who the bearer is, while others believe there is more to name that meets the eye. However, in African context, naming is a very important tool used among various cultures to convey certain messages, either to an individual, family members, or a community.
Amarachi means the grace of God. Okay. As a child growing up, I was always sick, so it took grace that I survived. My mom didn't really believe that I would live up to this age, so I feel like it's a name that follows me. The grace of God that has always been around me. Well, we should be careful of names. It's just like the words we speak. It goes a long way in the children's life. So just like your words, the names has effect as well.
Some respondents believe that African children also receive a second name believed to be prayers, hope for the future, unnamed expectations, and parental aspirations. Names are also given based on geographic environment, religious beliefs, as well as past experiences. The chosen name may even offer insight into important cultural or socio-political events at that time.
Oh, my name is God's Glory Omojo.
So what is the meaning of your name?
God's Glory Omojo is like someone that represents the glory of God. God's glory. Then Omojo means child of God. Then Edibo is servant of God. Edibo is servant of a king. Do you understand? So there are these persons in our village that stands behind the king. So those persons, they call them Edibo. So they are servant of a king. But being born into a Christian family will now change it to servant of God because we are standing behind God as his servants. So I feel every parent should just be conscious of giving their child good names that will represent what they really want in their child.
In modern African culture, naming ceremonies are celebrations that formally introduce a child to the world, its community, and announces the infant's name and meanings of the said names.
The name is of paramount importance in our society, which goes a long way to make the bearer good ambassador of the nation. He added that most time individuals change names that will have adverse effects on the bearer.
My name is Said Razak.
Said Razak.
Yeah.
So what is the meaning of your name?
The meaning of my name is, according to what I hear, is Anobi Said, it's prophet of Allah. I have Babatunde.
You have Babatunde? Yeah. Why do they call you Babatunde?
It's because my grandpa late. That's why they call me Babatunde.
One classic case of the impact of a name on a person's life is name Good Luck, which many Nigerians believe contributed to the meteoric rise of ex-President Jonathan from political oblivion to the zenith of politics in Nigeria. Kabir Lawal, Trust TV News, Abuja.
A very interesting piece there. Now, the federal government of Nigeria has concluded plans to empower no fewer than 30 distressed families in the country. Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Sadia Umar Farouk, said on Saturday that the gesture was to mark the 2022 International Day of Families. A statement signed by the Deputy Director of Information, Rhoda Ishaku, said the ultimate goal of the ministry is to improve the living standard and enhance the quality of life of families, the poor and the vulnerable in the society. According to the statement, Farouk called on every Nigerian to dedicate this year's celebration to finding lasting solutions to issues affecting the survival and proper development of Nigerian families. The United Nations General Assembly, in its resolution 47237 in 1993, set aside the 15th of May every year to be observed globally as the International Day of Families. At least 150 internally displaced persons in Nasarawa State have benefited from the distribution of sewing machines as part of efforts to provide an alternative means of livelihood. At the presentation ceremony in Lafia, the Nasarawa State capital, Governor Abdullahi Sule explained that the gesture is part of his administration's efforts geared towards catering for the well-being of the internally displaced and vulnerable persons across the state. The report.
The distribution, which was a collaboration between the Nasarawa State Government, United Nations Development Programme (UNDP) and the Japanese government, drew beneficiaries from the 4 local government areas of Awe, Kiana, Obi and Doma. The beneficiaries are victims of humanitarian crisis and displaced persons from various IDP camps in the state who have undergone 3 months training in various skills to enable them become self-reliant. Governor Sule explained that the move was to reduce the hardship being faced by the IDPs and to make them have a sense of belonging. While charging the beneficiaries to use the machines properly to enhance their livelihood, Governor Sule also called on other donor agencies and well-meaning individuals to emulate the initiative by the UNDP and the Japanese government to assist internally displaced persons and other vulnerable children.
Let me use the opportunity of the occasion to call on other development partners and philanthropists to emulate this gesture for the gainful employment of our youth and women for the overall benefit of the society, which I believe will serve as their source of income and to make them have a means of livelihood without depending on others for survival.
Representatives of UNDP, Chukwumaume, said its organization, in collaboration with the Japanese government, also have a similar program in the state on agriculture to assist the internally displaced persons to engage in farming.
It's our only way to ensure that persons who have been affected by conflict, Your Excellency, are able to find their fates, empowered economically, given all sorts of skills and training to enable them embark on the journey of self-reliance and economic development.
Director General, Nasarawa State Emergency Management Agency, Zakari Alumaga, explained that the beneficiaries would go home with 1 sewing machine and other accessories as a startup park to set up their small-scale businesses. Speaking on behalf of the beneficiaries, Rita Ayam appreciated Nasarawa State Government, UNDP and the Japanese government for coming to their aid.
Thank government of Japan and UNDP, whose humanitarian gesture has gone beyond our borders to include us here in Nigeria.
You're still watching News Hour on Trust Television. I'll see you on the other side of the break. Do stay.
As the 2023 elections draw near, remember, evil prospers when good men and women only wish for peace, but never take a step to make peaceful elections happen. Are you a father? Are you a mother? What are you saying to your children as elections approach? Have you warned them not to let themselves be used to cause violence? Have you explained to them what the consequences of electoral violence might be? Do your part to make peaceful elections happen. Talk to your children. Protect them from unscrupulous politicians who want to put them in harm's way, while their own children are comfortable at home, within and outside the country. Let's join hands to make 2023 elections peaceful. This message is from the National Orientation Agency, NOAA.
back. Moving on, at least 150 persons in Nasarawa State have benefited from the distribution of sewing machines as part of efforts to provide an alternative means of livelihood. At the presentation ceremony in Lafia, the Nasarawa State capital, Governor Abdullahi Sule explained that the gesture is part of his administration's efforts geared towards catering for the well-being of the internally displaced persons and vulnerable people across the state. Now, the Bauchi State government says it will ensure stiffer punishment for those felling trees indiscriminately to serve as deterrent to others and the menace of desertification in the state. It stated this after a one-day sensitization meeting on alternative use of household cooking stove. Trust TV's Adamu Imam has the details.
The stakeholders meeting was organized by the Bauchi State Environmental Protection Agency and attended by district heads across the state. It was aimed at educating them on the dangers of felling of trees and the need to reduce the risks of using domestic cooking stove. The district head of Bauchi warned of consequences from those who flout the directives, adding that such people risk being prosecuted.
It's not administered to these people. They will continue to do it. For instance, somebody will be caught with a truckload of firewood. The worst that can be done to him is to fine him. You fine him maybe more than 5,000 for a truck, and then you allow him to go with the firewood. That the firewood has been auctioned to him. You pay a fine, and then you are allowed to go with the firewood. You go and sell it again. Tomorrow you will go back. You will say that it's only a fine of 5,000 for a truckload of firewood. I will do it tomorrow.
Stakeholders are sure of new and improved household stove that will reduce carbon emission and help protect the environment.
Employment, because in the production of the cook stove is also bringing about employment in the distribution channel, because sales agents will be employed who will sell the cook stove, and also it will reduce the fuel consumption in households, so household will reduce their spending on fuel.
Some of the participants appreciated the effort of the agency and commended the project initiators for educating them. Adam Imam, Trust TV News, Bauchi.
The Nigerian Communications Commission, NCC, has alerted owners of some Honda and Acura car models of new hacking tricks that can start engines without wires. The Director of Public Affairs of NCC, Ikechukwu Adinde, said research has exposed a vulnerability used by nearby attackers to unlock these vehicles. Adinde said the vulnerability is a man-in-the-middle attack, or a replay attack, where an attacker intercepts the radio frequency signals normally sent from a remote key fob to the car, which manipulates the signals and resends them later to unlock the car at will. The statement added that the attack consists of a threat actor capturing the radio frequency signal sent from the key fob to the car and resending the signal to take control of the car's remote keyless entry system. Now let's join Chiamaka for business news.
The Nigerian government has released a set of new regulations guiding the issuance, exchange and custody of digital assets in Nigeria. The Securities and Exchange Commission, SEC, released the new regulations in a statement on Saturday, mandating the registration of the offering and sale of digital tokens that are considered securities. According to the Commission, the new guidelines would apply to all issuers seeking to raise capital through digital asset offerings, while such could only raise funds within a limit of 10 billion naira. The regulation requires applicants seeking to register a DAOP to buy 100,000 naira for the filing or application fee, 300,000 naira for the processing fee, 30 million naira for the registration fee, and 100,000 naira for sponsored individuals. These new regulations by the SEC come 2 years after the Central Bank of Nigeria directed commercial banks to stop transactions in cryptocurrencies in the country. The National Bureau of Statistics says Nigeria's real gross domestic product (GDP) increased by 3.98% in the fourth quarter of 2021. This was disclosed in the NBS Statistics quarterly report released in Abuja on Saturday. The quarter 4 2021 growth rate was higher than 0.11% growth rate recorded in quarter 4 of 2020 by 3.87 percentage points. Quarter on quarter, real GDP grew at 9.63% in quarter 4 of 2021 compared to quarter 3 of 2021, reflecting a higher economic activity than the preceding quarter. The report showed that services recorded the highest year-on-year growth rate of 5.58% in the fourth quarter of 2021, followed by agriculture with 3.58%, while industry had negative 0.05%. Agriculture contributed the most to GDP with 26.84%, followed by trade with 15.66% and information and communication with 15.21%. And finally, the Nigerian Ports Authority says 5 terminal operators are being monitored to meet up their obligations under the Port Concession Agreement. The contracts of the affected terminal operators have therefore been temporarily renewed for 6 months, with conditions to meet before their concession agreements can be renewed permanently. Addressing journalists in Lagos over the weekend, the managing director of the NPA, Mohammed Bello Koko, said that the introduction of the Infrastructure Concession Regulatory Commission (ICRC) Act meant that renewal of concession agreements for terminal operators would no longer follow previous patterns.
Another foreign scene, Finland has announced its decision to apply for membership in NATO, paving the way for the 30-member Western military alliance to expand. The decision comes after Russian President Vladimir Putin warned Finland that joining NATO will be a mistake. NATO's foreign ministers are holding a meeting in Germany to discuss moves by Finland and Sweden to join the military alliance. There's been a shift in public opinion on membership in historically neutral countries like Finland and Sweden because of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. 18-year-old suspect arraigned. An 18-year-old white man has shot dead 10 people in a black neighborhood of New York State in what authorities are calling a racially motivated attack. The man, named as Peyton Gentron in court papers, was arrested after a standoff at the scene, a supermarket in the city of Buffalo. 18-year-old Peyton Gentron of Coughlin is arraigned in city court in downtown Buffalo wearing a face mask, paper gun, and surrounded by police officers. He is charged in connection with the shooting deaths of 10 people in a top supermarket, which also left 3 others injured. The suspect entered the store on Saturday afternoon before opening fire. He live-streamed the attack online. U.S. President Joe Biden condemned what he called an abhorrent act. The Nigeria Football Federation on Sunday announced the appointment with immediate effect of Jose Santos Peseiro as the new head coach of the senior men national team, the Super Eagles. Jose Vitor dos Santos Peseiro, 62, is a Portuguese who played as a striker in his days and has wide and varied experience coaching top clubs and national teams across Europe, Asia, Africa, and South America. Peseiro, who is a Portuguese educationist with a degree in physical education and sports sciences, has top-level coaching qualifications and training and has coached at Sporting Lisbon FC, Porto Panathinaikos, Rapid Budapest, Sporting Braga, Victoria Guimarães, Al Hilal, Al Wahda, and Ahli Cairo, among others. The NFF also announced that former Nigeria international forward Finidi George will now be first assistant to Peseiro, with Salisu Yusuf as second assistant as well as head coach of the Chan and U23 national teams. Usman Abdullah is third assistant, while Ebo Dorise Uwajomore will be the match analyst, with Ike Shoromu serving as the goalkeeper's trainer. American Jermell Charlo became the first undisputed light middleweight champion in history with a 10th round knockout of Argentina's Brian Castano. It was the second fight between the pair following a controversial draw last year. WBC, WBA and IBF champion Charlo won Castano's WBO belt in Los Angeles to unify the division. Charlo's record now stands at 35 wins and just 1 defeat. He's only the 7th boxer to hold all 4 belts at the same time, joining the likes of Bernard Hopkins, Terence Crawford, Sal Canelo Alvarez and Scotland's Josh Taylor. Now, before we go, here is a kicker. Drip irrigation technology has been widely used in Xinjiang, China. A Xinhua correspondent takes you there to see how it works.
Located at the center of the Eurasian continent, the Xinjiang Uyghur Autonomous Region has over 7 million hectares of cultivated land, and 96% of them need irrigation. On the other hand, Xinjiang is subject to a dry climate and a serious water shortage. So that begs the question, how can farmers here deal with it? Drip irrigation combined with plastic mulching is Xinjiang's solution. Thanks to extensive application of the effective water-saving technology, the region has grown into China's largest cotton-producing area in the past 20 years, accounting for nearly 90% of the country's cotton output and about 20% of the global total. Today, there are some 2.5 million hectares of cotton fields in Xinjiang, and almost all of them are outfitted with mulching films and drip irrigation systems, which is something rarely seen in other major cotton-producing countries. As a matter of fact, such water-saving techniques are widely applied to more than 40 crops here, including tomatoes and corn. Many people may wonder, with all those films and tubes, is farming becoming more complicated and time-consuming? The answer is no, thanks to the increasing mechanization of farm work. For example, this cotton planter, which is invented in Xinjiang, can sow seeds and lay the films and tubes at the same time, and it can cover more than 7 hectares a day. And to prevent contamination, those films and tubes are recycled every year, and this job is done by machines. Official statistics show that the water-saving technology helps reduce 37 to 45% of the amount of water needed to irrigate cotton, wheat, corn, and potato fields. What is more exciting is that the yield of these crops has increased by more than 30%. China is one of 13 countries most affected by water scarcity. With its per capita water resources only 1/4 of the world average. And agriculture is a major consumer of water in the country. Over the recent 2 decades, the large-scale application of water conservation technology in Xinjiang has played an important role in China's agricultural modernization.
Well, there you go. And that's it on News Hour. Do not forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Zainab Bala. Have a good night.